Hello all, welcome back to Data Science Brain. In this video, we will do another fun project where we will be building a Llama 3 chatbot using Meta's newly launched large language model, which is the most powerful open source large language model. So, let us first see an example of how this works. So, we will type in something like who is the greatest cricketer, Sachin, Dhoni or Kohli. And as you can see, we can see the result here. Just like in ChatGPT, we can see the question and it has responded as the answer. Okay. So actually, it is saying that Sachin Tendulkar is often considered as the greatest batsman of all time. Okay, so this is how it works. We will just ask a question, just like in ChatGPT, and it will answer it like this. Okay, so this is what we are going to build. So let's get started with the code. So before we begin, you have to download something called Ollama by going to ollama.com download. The link will be provided in the description. So this is important because in the previous video we have seen me running the Ollama 3 model in Google Colab, and you have seen how much time it takes. So it is really hard to run it in your own local system. Okay, so running Ollama 3 model and asking it questions in your local system is really difficult. So for that we will be using a service called Ollama. Okay, so by using Ollama, we can run the Llama 3 model in their servers and get the results back. Okay, so we'll be using this service. So you have to download this for your particular system, macOS, Linux, or Windows. And after downloading this, you have to go to command prompt and you have to type in a code Ollama pull llama 3 like this. I will show you. So you have to type in the code Ollama pull llama 3 and run it, and it will pull the Llama 3 model. Okay, so I have already done this, so I don't have to do this again. So I'll just quit. So after that, you're ready for the code. So a quick shout out to this GitHub profile which I have used for making this video. I will provide the link in the description. Okay. Also, you can go to this GitHub profile repository of mine, and you can download all the files that we use in this video. Okay, like all the images and templates and style sheets and everything. Okay. So in the code, whatever ID you are using, VS Code, PyCharm or anything, you have to set up this folder structure, like this static, where we'll be storing any static files like images and style sheet. And in the templates folder, we will be storing the index.html file, which will be allowing us to view it in a web browser. Okay. And our main file app.py, where we will be writing the Python logic, and this requirements.txt for installing the requirements. Okay. So before we begin, whatever maybe environment or anywhere you are using, you need to install these three packages. Okay, langchain core, langchain community, and flask. Okay, so if you encounter any issues while installing this, comment it down. Any dependencies you are facing, comment it down. Okay, so let us begin. So after installing all of that, we have to do some imports. So we will first import these libraries. Ollama, we will import Ollama from langchain community, and chat prompt template for creating a prompt template, and also str output parser for parsing the output we receive from the Llama 3 model, and also logging for logging any errors or anything like that. Okay, so we will set up this logging first. This is just to see any errors or any debugging messages. Okay, so after that, we will write a function to initialize the Llama 3 model. Okay, so we will say def initialize Llama 3. So inside that, we will put it in a try catch block. So inside the try block we will create prompt, and we will use the chat prompt template to create a prompt template. Okay, so this prompt template will be helpful for us when we are passing it into the Llama 3 model. Okay, so that's why we are using the chat prompt template for creating the template. Okay, so after that, we'll say Llama model. So we will get the Llama 3 model from Ollama. Say model is equal to Llama 3. This actually, so there might be some spelling mistakes. Okay, so just bear with me. Llama 3, and we will also get the output parser. Format output is equal to the str output parser. Okay, so we will set up these things. we have to set up the prompt, set up the model, and also set up the parser for parsing the output. Okay, so after that we will create a pipeline. Okay, so we'll create chatbot pipeline, and to this pipeline we will pass in these. Okay, so the input that we are getting will go through all of these pipelines, all of these methods. Okay, so it will first go through the chan prompt, and it will create a prompt using that input, and then it will go through the Ollama model, I mean llama 3 model, and get us the output, and it will go through the output parser and format the output for us to display. Okay, and we will return this pipeline. Okay, so after that we will write an exception block, except exception as e. So we will just log a message that I have already written. Logging error failed initializing chatbot. Okay, so that's about initializing the llama 3. Now we will get this pipeline and we will run this pipeline. Okay, so we will initialize the llama 3 model, and okay, so now we will write the main function and let us see if it is working correctly. Okay, so we will write, so we need a input, right? So we will ask a question. So let us type in question is equal to some question like, who is God. Okay, so okay, this is actually, this can be anything. So we will say query input instead of question. So query input, who is God. Okay, so we will again put the next things in a try catch block, in a try block. So we will be getting a response from the chatbot pipeline. So we cannot input it like this. Actually, we need to give it like key value, because this key is used here. Okay, this is the key that we will be using here. Okay, so inside this question we will pass in the query input. Okay, and we will print the response to see how we get the response. Okay, and also again another logging here just to see any error if it occurs. Okay, so this will be passed to chatbot pipeline, and this will be coming here. Okay, so this template is basically saying to the llama 3 model that as a system, I am saying first that you are my personal assistant. Okay, I am saying to llama 3 that you are my personal assistant, and as a user I am asking it a question. Okay, so that's all this template means. Okay, first it will tell the llama 3 model as a system that you are my personal assistant. Okay, then as a user I am telling the llama 3 model that whatever question I am going to ask. Okay, so this is the question, and here we will pass in the question from here. Okay, whatever question we have. So let us quickly uh, type in this to run this. I have explained in several of my previous videos what we are doing here. Okay, so let us just run it and see if it works. So we have encountered an error like runnable object is not callable. Okay, so it's because here we have to write invoke. Okay, so here we have to write invoke for invoking the pipeline. Okay, so now it will work. So now let us run it. So as you can see, we were able to input the text and get the output. Okay, so we have got the output for the question who is God. So we were successfully able to give the llama 3 model a query and get the answers. Okay, so now we will use this to make our application. Okay, so make our llama 3 bot using Flask, where we will be able to input a text in the web application, and we will get the output here. Okay, down here. So let's get started with that. So for that we need to do some more imports. So we will import these functions from Flask, request render template, and Flask itself. So we will be using, as I have said, we will be using Flask for creating the application. So first we need to initialize the Flask app. So we need to create the Flask app, and we are basically adding this decorator to mention that this will be run as a Flask app. And we are saying here that whenever I am in this route, get these two get and post methods. Okay, so we are basically saying listen for any post or get action. Okay, so post means we are sending some data from the front end. Front end is the chatbot application interface that we have seen in that web browser. So if we are sending some data, like we have input the question and send it to the backend, that is post. Okay, so we are posting it to backend. Getting means getting something from the backend. So backend here in the sense is the Python file, and front end will be the HTML index.html file that we have. Okay, so if you are sending some data from that HTML file to the backend, it will be post. And if you are sending something from the backend, the Python file to the HTML file, it is get. Okay, just make sure you understand that. It is not the complete explanation, but it is enough to understand. Okay, what is happening. So we will be listening for a post, right? Because first time we will be getting an input, right, from the front end. So for that we will be listening for a post action. So we will write something like if request dot method is equal to post. So before that we will empty this query input, and we will say it is none, because now we will be getting this from the front end. Okay, basically front end means the UI that we are seeing, the application. Okay, and we will also set up an output variable and set it to none, which we will be using for receiving the output. Okay, so if request is equal to post, so we will put this, actually we will tab it. If request is equal to post, we will get the query input. Okay, we will get the query input from request.form.get query input. Okay, so we'll be writing a form we'll be making a form in the HTML. So form is just like we have seen in different website, we will be filling in forms, right? It has an input field, it's different kinds of field. In our particular case, we'll be having an input field. Okay, so this line of code will be getting the input from the input field, which has an ID query input. Okay, so getting whatever is written in that input field is all this line is doing. Okay, that string of text we have inputted in the input field. Now we are saying if query input. Okay, if query input, so if we have received something in that input, then we will do this try catch. Okay, so we will pass in that query input here, and we will get the response. Okay, so instead of printing this response, I mean, we can print it still, but we'll store it as well. Okay, we'll store the response here. Okay, so before we just directly store this response, we will write a function. We'll just write a function to format this output. Okay, so I will just quickly copy and paste this and I will explain. Okay, so this formatting function will take in the text, whatever output we have received, and it will just format it in a way that we will be able to view it correctly in the HTML file. Okay, so this is just basically converting any latex bold tags to this strong HTML tag. Okay, so star is used for representing bold text in a latex file, or in any kind of formatting file, and we are converting that to that inside the strong tag. Okay, strong tag is used to represent bold text in HTML. Okay, so nothing here, it is just formatting the text to be little bit more better viewable in the HTML file. Okay, that's all it is doing. If you need further explanation, you can comment it down. I will definitely explain. Okay, so we will pass in our response to this, and we will get a formatted output. Okay, so we have done that. Now after we have got the output, we need to render it, right? I mean, rendering is basically meaning we need to put this in an HTML file, isn't it? So okay, it has already written the code for me. Okay, so we will call the render template function we have imported from the Flask, and inside it, what we need to render? We need to render this file, index.html file, which I have already created, which you can download from the GitHub profile. And in that HTML file, I am passing in query input. We need the input, right? We need the input to display the question, and we need the output to display the answer to the question, right? So we are passing in these two things to the HTML file, and we are rendering the HTML. Okay, so now comes the Python part is over, almost complete. One more thing remaining, we need to run this. Okay, so instead of this, we will say app.run, and we will put the debug equal to true, so that we can see any errors that occurs here. Okay, so the next comes the HTML part. I will not be going in detail about the HTML part, because this is about building a chatbot, not about a web development course. Okay, so this is pretty easy to understand. So what is an HTML file? HTML file is basically hypertext markup language. It is used for building web pages. Okay, this is a language that web browsers understand, and it will show the result as a viewable format in front of us, like an application or a web page or anything. Okay, so we are saying doc type is equal to HTML. So we are basically saying that this is an HTML file, and inside this head tag, so these are called tags. Okay, so these things in the angle brackets are called tags. Different tags means different things, and head tag means this is the head of the HTML file, and inside this head file we will put the title, the title of our web page, and we will pass in some links. Okay, link for maybe some font that we will be using. There are particular fonts, right? As you know, there are different kinds of font like Arial and all those, Roboto and everything. So if you are going to use some particular font, we will put it here. We will link to that font here, and we will also link to our style sheet here. Okay, so style sheet is important. As we have seen in that web app, there is a blue color, and there's a llama picture there. The font is big for the llama bot text. So all those things, all those styling things is done by the style sheet. Okay, so we are linking that style sheet here, and the style sheet is in this file style.css. So this is again another code that we use to style things in a web page. Okay, in an HTML file. Okay, so you don't have to go in detail understanding all these things. If you want, you can, I will put a link to the link in the description where you can learn more about HTML and CSS. Okay, so this is just styling the HTML file, and this is the HTML file that we are styling. Okay, and inside the body tag, this is where everything happens. This is where all the action happens. Everything that we see in the browser happens here. So everything that you see in the screen happens here. So I will show you. So this okay, I will put it in parallel so that you can better understand. So inside this body comes the header. Okay, so header is what? Header is the heading, llama bot, and the image. Okay, image, and llama bot is put in h1 tag. H means heading tag. Okay, and after that comes the form. This form. Okay, this form has only one field. Which field? The input field where we type in the message. Okay, so one field, one input field. It is a text field, and as I have mentioned, it has the ID query input. Okay, we have used this query input ID to get the message, isn't it? So whatever message we are typing in this input field, we will get it in the backend. Okay, so let me just zoom out. Okay, and we have a button, which is this button for submitting this input to the backend. Okay, so after that comes the response container. So response container is basically this thing. Okay, this thing after this message input, the box that you're seeing below that is the response container, and inside that we are saying if query input. So if we have received a query input, we will put the like the text that shows the answer, the question, and if we have received the output, we will show the output as well. So that is all that is happening here. Okay, so you don't have to worry much about this code. If you want, I will do an explanation. You can comment it down if you need more further explanation. Okay, so now let us quickly run and see if this is working. Okay, so we will run it, and as you can see, after we have run, the app is live in this link. So let me just close it and again open it. Okay, so we can see our app is successfully run in the local host. So let me ask it a question. Who is the greatest cricketer, Sachin, Dhoni, or Kohli? Okay, now it is run. It will take some time. Okay, so it is making an API call to Ollama servers, and the llama3 model is running now, and it is getting the question and it is thinking about it. It is typing in the answer, and after it has done all of that, it will return us the answer. Okay, and it will return us to answer to the backend, and from that backend we are passing it to the HTML file here, and we are rendering the HTML file with that output here. Okay, so that is what is happening here. So we have received this. We have received the output. As we have seen, in the HTML file, this part will display the query input if query input is available, and it has displayed that. Okay, and after that it has displayed the output here. Okay, if output is available, if we get the output from the llama3, Ollama server, then print it here. Okay, so it has printed it here. Okay, so it has answered the question: who is the greatest cricketer, Sachin, Dhoni, or Kohli? And what is the answer? The answer is, I think most cricket enthusiasts would agree that Sachin Tendulkar is the greatest cricketer of all time. Okay, so that debate is settled here. Okay, even the AI model is saying that Sachin is the greatest cricketer. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, we have successfully able to build this application, which is a llama3 chatbot that you can actually use in your own system, just like ChatGPT. Okay, you can modify this code, you can make it better, just like ChatGPT. If you want, maybe you can add some history here. Maybe you can store it and send it to a MongoDB server. So you can store your question and answers there. You can see it in the history. So the possibilities are endless. Okay, so if you like this video, kindly like, subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out my other videos. I have made some computer vision videos as well. Also my explanation video on Llama 3 as well. And share this video with your friends. Okay, as you know, this is a new channel, and every one of your likes and support and subscribe will help me grow. Okay, and more videos to come, and keep the notifications on. I'll see you in the next video.